Hi guys, my name is Johnson, a certified product owner. I'll be your host for the day. I'll be walking you through the concept of stakeholder management, helping you to understand stakeholder management, especially as it relates to project management. Before we delve into the concepts, I would like to walk you through the content of this session, which includes what is stakeholder management, who is a stakeholder, why is stakeholder management crucial, steps in stakeholder management, and then conclusion. The first, which is who, what is stakeholder management? Stakeholder management is simply the process of identifying, prioritizing, and involving stakeholders throughout the various stages of project development. It holds a crucial role in project management, ensuring project success by aligning stakeholders' expectations and mitigating potential risks. So the next would be who is a stakeholder? A stakeholder refers to any individual or group with an interest or influence on a project. Stakeholders can be either internal, such as employees, executives, or external, including customers, suppliers, even the government of the day, constitutes the regulatory body as the case may be. Why is stakeholder management crucial? Now, having understood the fact that stakeholder management is a process of identifying, prioritizing, and involving stakeholders, and then stakeholders refer to individuals or group with vested interest or influence on the project, either directly or indirectly, we should understand that certain individuals make a project succeed. Certain individuals invest in a project. Certain individuals ensures that a project succeeds. And then certain individuals or group ensures that a project does not make other people or other group, disadvantaged in the context of regulatory bodies. Okay? So it is very crucial that stakeholder management is studied because we try to ensure that we engage within project management, we involve certain persons, we identify those persons, we prioritize their influence, their interest, and then we try to make sure that we work within the context specified that helps the project to succeed. Okay? The first point identified would be that the reason why stakeholder management is crucial is for project success. Of course, no project can succeed if you don't identify who and who are involved in the project, either directly or indirectly. Who and who are impacted by the project, either directly or indirectly. We need to understand the different categories of stakeholders in this context, individuals or group whose vested interest or influence impacts the project. The next would be for relationship building. Of course, stakeholder management is crucial because relationship building helps to, define that aspect of relating with stakeholders, such that ability to communicate, ability to relate by way of understanding who to relate with, when to relate, how to relate, help to make a project to succeed. So, in essence, a strong stakeholder relationship leads to increased project support, cooperation, and collaboration. The next is risk mitigation. Risk mitigation is a very critical component of stakeholder management because identifying and addressing potential risks in advance helps to mitigate or avoid challenges throughout the project. Hence, identifying stakeholder risk is crucial here as it allows one to anticipate potential conflicts or resistance from stakeholders and develop strategies to mitigate these risks. So, understanding that relating with one another as stakeholders could breed, that atmosphere where conflict could thrive is a very critical element of stakeholder management. So it is important to understand the risks relating to stakeholder management because that would help in building mitigation strategies or approaches that one can really work to ensure that there are less conflicts, there are less resistance, and then the project will succeed. The next would be accessing challenges in stakeholder environment. Now, regularly access changes in the external environment that may impact stakeholder perspectives or perceptions or expectations. Now, this point points to the fact that assessing changes in the external environment is critical. Assessing changes, always understanding the changing environment of a project is critical. The changing environment could impact perceptions and expectations, which constitutes a critical component of stakeholder management. So it is important to assess changes in stakeholder environments as this is a critical component of managing stakeholders. The next would be improved communication. Of course, effective communication with stakeholders is vital for clarity and avoiding misunderstanding. It will be the worst thing to do to not understand a stakeholder within a project. It would be the worst thing to do as a stakeholder to not understand other stakeholders as this could lead to project failure. Miscommunication, poor communication, or lack of it could actually render a project invalid, could actually lead to the failure of a project by implication. The next would be steps in stakeholder management. The steps would first involve identifying who and who are directly or indirectly impacted by a project. So we need to understand who a stakeholder is. We need to label the stakeholder by portfolio. We need to identify stakeholders by the level of influence and interest, which takes us to prioritizing a stakeholder. into their level of interest and influence, or interest and power. That is where the power, interest, greed comes in. So if you identify stakeholders by virtue of their interest and influence in the project, and then you prioritize them by virtue of their interest and power in the project, and the next would be to engage with the stakeholders on the basis of their power and interest. The power interest grid is a simple grid that highlights stakeholders, those with high power, high influence, high power, low influence or interest, low power, high influence or interest, low power, high interest. So it's a four quadrant power interest grid that you can look up to understand how to really place stakeholders where they actually belong. It is important to place stakeholders where they belong because the level of communication, the level of conversations, the level of access, the level of mails in the context of communication will be determined by the level of their power and interest in the context of the power interest grid. Take, for instance, within project management, when you identify stakeholders, it is important to come up with a communication plan where you highlight stakeholders, highlight the mode of communication, frequency of communication, and then the type of communication tool that would be utilized. In this context, prioritizing your stakeholders would help you to effectively engage stakeholders. Now, engaging stakeholders is not enough. Managing expectation is also very critical. So it is important to set clear and realistic expectation, communicating changes or challenges promptly. From the outset, communicate project goals, timelines, and potential challenges transparently. In addition, be open to changes and communicate them clearly. Of course, managing expectation requires continuous dialogue, which engagement is full of. And then monitor and adapt. It's important to continuously monitor stakeholder relationships and adapt to strategies as the need arises. Because continuous evaluation is important because stakeholders' dynamics can evolve. Hence, you need to regularly assess relationships and adjust strategies accordingly. In addition, be aware that flexibility or adaptability is critical in stakeholder management, so be prepared to modify your engagement approach based on feedback and changing project circumstances. On this note, I would like to conclude by saying that effective stakeholder management is vital skill for project managers. By following best practices and utilizing appropriate tools and techniques, project managers can build robust relationships with stakeholders, ensuring project success from start to finish. Please remember, while it is important to study concepts around project management, it is equally important to understand there are dynamics and situations that may require ingenuity within a business workspace. Thank you so much for listening. And please do not forget to subscribe, like, and then share your feedback as you deem fit. I remain Johnson. See you in the next session. Thank you.